Freedom of speech and thought on college campuses is essential to one of the most important missions of the university, the search for truth. While censorship can come from the right or left, many colleges and universities are now zealously devoted to advancing left-wing ideas and are willing to disregard evidence and logic to do it. Universities should be a marketplace of ideas, not temples to a single political dogma. When students or faculty speak out against established norms, they're canceled, fired, or otherwise stigmatized by peers and university administrators. This is not what our founding fathers intended for our country or for our universities. Thomas Jefferson, who founded the University of Virginia, once wrote, "I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man." Universities used to promote this sentiment, but things have changed, and not for the better. Universities should be centers of education, not indoctrination. Yet university leaders either brazenly push their own agenda or walk on eggshells in fear of their own student body. Research and development suffer when debate and discussion are openly rejected on college campuses. Quashing intellectual curiosity hinders every field of study. The freedom to speak and think freely comes from God. Students should not have to sign away their First Amendment rights after enrolling in college, especially if those institutions accept taxpayer funds. It is time for colleges and universities to be held accountable when they refuse to protect the free speech of students and faculty. Members of the Education and Workforce Committee have submitted multiple bills to promote and protect the freedom of speech on college campuses. In the next Congress, we look forward to examining closely these bills and other ways to preserve the First Amendment on campuses. This administration won't be happy until it controls how, when, and where you work. It's hard to know if it's sheer arrogance that drives this administration to think it knows better than you, or Biden is so beholden to big labor that he refuses to see what's best for the rest of America. Regardless, this administration's attack on independent contractors is wrong, and Republicans aren't standing for it. Many workers, especially women, have come to rely on the flexibility the independent contracting model provides. A regular 9-to-5 schedule does not work for every American. Forcing all workers into a one-size-fits-all model, while a dream for union bosses, is a mistake. This debate is about freedom. Workers deserve the freedom to choose how they work. I'm pushing back against Democrats' assault on entrepreneurial opportunity and their attempts to control the lives of Americans from birth until death. Because I've seen firsthand that when the federal government steps aside and allows job creators and industry leaders to innovate, the workforce and U.S. economy will thrive. We've had enough of this Washington knows best mentality. Remember when President Obama told Americans, quote, "You didn't build that," end quote. He ridiculously claimed that businesses need the government's help to be successful. As if this wasn't bad enough, now the Biden administration is telling America's entrepreneurs, you can't build that. This is unacceptable. We must do everything we can to stop this proposed rule, and I encourage everyone to get involved. Get on the phone, call your representative and senator, and submit a comment. We must put pressure on the Biden administration to withdraw this proposed rule. Enough is enough. The livelihoods of real people are at risk. Americans should be able to build the future they want for themselves. It's time for Washington to get out of the way. I yield back.
Any questions? Yes, ma'am. Who you got?
On police funding, some members reportedly want to see a package of bills brought to a vote before you go to August recess. Do you support that?
Well, we're reviewing and We're on a path. I think we're on a good path, and we'll have a number of bills. There are a wide array of bills, but we've met on some of them. We're checking them out with the committees, and I think we'll have a good package.
Before the recess?
Well, we'll see. We have such a flurry of activity. It would be our plan to do so. Of course, a lot depends on when we get the CHIPS bill. A lot depends on what will happen with reconciliation, how soon we can get that before the recess. But it is hoped and in the plan that we could do some of that then. Yes, sir.
Madam Speaker, the President said yesterday the U.S. military does not think it's a good idea for you to visit Taiwan. You visited Ukraine, obviously. That was important to show U.S. support. Would such a concern on the part of the U.S. military deter you from going?
I don't ever discuss my travel plans. It's a security issue. You never even hear me say if I'm going to London, because it is a security issue, and so I won't be discussing that now.
What is the most important thing that we can do to deter China from attacking Taiwan?
That is a very major issue, and it is, if you were going to have a discussion about that, I think that it's important for us to show support for Taiwan. I also think that none of us has ever said we're for independence when it comes to Taiwan. That's up to Taiwan to decide. But if the inference to draw on from your comment is that my going there is problematic, I think what the president was saying is maybe the military was afraid our plane would get shot down or something like that by the Chinese. I don't know exactly. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. You're telling me, and I've heard it anecdotally, but I haven't heard it from the president. Yeah, what do you got?
President Putin traveled to Iran yesterday and he met with Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. In that meeting, Ayatollah Khamenei told him his invasion of Ukraine is justified, and he accused the West and the United States to plot to invade Crimea hadn't he invaded Ukraine. What do you make of Ayatollah Khamenei's comment to Putin and Putin's travel to Tehran in general?
What did you end it with?
What do you make of Ayatollah Khamenei's comments when he said that
Right.
Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine is justified?
Right.
And what do you make of the Iranian-Russian alliance now? Do you think?
Okay, that's it. Well, let me just say that the Russian invasion of Ukraine is a violation of the borders of Ukraine. It is so wrong, and the world has reacted generally to it. Tyrants find their friends, and there's no surprise in any of that. But I don't think anybody has ever accused or recognized the Khomeini in Iran as a respecter of boundaries, respecter of people. And in terms of Russia, Crimea, I don't think was reacted to strongly enough when they invaded Crimea. I'm very proud of the American people and the support that they have for the people of Ukraine who are fighting for their democracy, for their country, for their territorial boundaries. And to me, it's practically irrelevant what the Khomeini says, but what is relevant is the weapons that he may supply Russia with. So it's tyrant to tyrant. Doesn't matter what any of us think. It's what they will do. But it's most unfortunate. And it's particularly unfortunate because it wasn't that long ago when Russia was part of the agreement for the nuclear agreement. And now some of that has changed. I don't know what impact that may have. But Russia knows full well the capability of Iran. China knows full well the capability of Iran to go forward with a nuclear weapon. They know because they've supplied them with much of the material, the technology, the scientists, the delivery system. There are four things for a nuclear program: technology, science to put it together, delivery system to deliver it, intent. The only thing that is truly indigenous to Iran in that regard is intent. And that's why China and Russia were so cooperative in stopping Iran from proceeding with a nuclear weapon. Now the geopolitical dynamic has changed, and we'll see. But it really doesn't matter what the rest of us think about what Khomeini is cooperating with Russia on. The fact is, should come as no surprise. Yes, one more thing, because then I have to really go through. Any more women? Yes, ma'am.
On the president's COVID diagnosis, do you think this should change how seriously the American people are taking this latest variant? And also, on the Ukrainian First Lady's address yesterday, are you aware of any further conversations in Congress about further humanitarian and military aid packages? Could you shed some light on your thoughts?
Well, two questions. One about anything that affects the president has an impact in our country. It's more well known, shall we say. So let's hope that it would encourage people to be tested, to have the boosters and the rest. This is I don't know exactly which assault has been made on the president in terms of, but what is happening now is rampant, but it is not as and having such a negative impact on people's health. Let's hope that that continues to be the case, but we don't know. So I don't know enough about how the president has been diagnosed to make any informed decision about that. But let people know that none of us is immune from it, including the President of the United States, and we really have to be careful. In terms of First Lady Zelenska's visit yesterday, she was really beautifully received in a bipartisan, bicameral way, a real statement of support for Ukraine. I don't think anybody thinks that our support for Ukraine has been exhausted. Yes, sir. I think we have to go now. One more, he said. Yes, sir.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he's received from you?
What are you saying?
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information you've received from you?
No, absolutely not. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.